You're short on time. You skip the warm-up. You go straight into your first working set, and tell yourself you'll ease into it. Everyone does this. Most people do it regularly. And most people have no idea what's actually happening inside their joints during those first cold, unprepared representatives. Or why the damage accumulates so quietly that by the time something hurts, the problem has been building for months. Here's what actually happens to your joints when you skip your warm-up. And why 5 minutes of preparation is one of the highest return investments in your entire training session. 1. Your synovial fluid isn't ready. Every movable joint in your body is lubricated by synovial fluid, a thick, viscous liquid that sits inside the joint capsule and reduces friction between the cartilage surfaces during movement. When you're at rest, synovial fluid is relatively thick and unevenly distributed throughout the joint. It hasn't been circulated. It hasn't been warmed. It's doing the minimum required to keep the joint functional at rest, not the demand of loaded movement. When you warm up, movement circulates synovial fluid throughout the joint cavity and raises its temperature slightly. As it warms, its viscosity decreases, it becomes thinner, more evenly distributed, and dramatically more effective at lubricating the cartilage surfaces during high-demand movement. The cartilage itself becomes more pliable and impact-resistant as fluid pressure within it increases. Skip the warm-up and you're loading a joint that's running on cold, thick, unevenly distributed synovial fluid. The cartilage surfaces are stiffer than they should be. The lubrication is inadequate for the demand. Every rep in that first set is generating more friction, more shear force, and more compression on cartilage that isn't prepared to handle it. Over time, not overnight, but over months and years of skipping warm-ups, that cumulative cartilage stress adds up. 2. Your muscles can't protect your joints when they are cold. Joints don't protect themselves. Muscles do. The purpose of the muscles surrounding any joint is not just to produce movement, it's to absorb force, stabilize the joint, and prevent the bones from moving in directions they shouldn't. This protective function requires the muscle to be neurologically ready, firing at the right time, with the right intensity, in coordination with the other muscles surrounding the joint. Cold muscles are slower. Their force production is lower. Their reaction time is longer. The neuromuscular connection, the speed and efficiency with which your brain communicates with the muscle, is impaired at lower temperatures. This means that when unexpected force is applied to a cold joint, a rep that goes slightly wrong, a landing that's off-center, a load that shifts unexpectedly, the muscles surrounding the joint cannot respond fast enough to protect it. The result is that the joint itself, the cartilage, the ligaments, the tendons, absorbs force that the muscles should have absorbed. Repeatedly. Every session you skip the warm-up. The joint takes the hit the muscles should have taken. 3. Your tendons and ligaments are not elastic when cold. Tendons connect muscle to bone. Ligaments connect bone to bone. Both are made primarily of collagen, a protein that changes its mechanical properties with temperature. At lower temperatures, collagen is stiffer, less elastic, and more brittle. It can still handle load, but it handles sudden, high-demand load significantly less well than when it's warmed up. When you warm up properly, blood flow to tendons and ligaments increases. Their temperature rises. The collagen becomes more viscoelastic, meaning it can stretch slightly under load and return to its original length without damage. This capacity to absorb and release energy is what makes tendons and ligaments resilient under training stress. Skip the warm-up and your tendons go straight from resting cold to maximum loading demand. The collagen is stiff. The blood flow is low. The capacity to absorb energy elastically is reduced. The risk of microtearing, tiny structural damage to tendon and ligament fibers, increases significantly. Microtears are not immediately painful. They accumulate. They become tendinopathy. They become the chronic tendon pain that people treat with ice and stretching for months without understanding why it won't go away. 4. Your range of motion is restricted, and you compensate with your joints. Cold muscles and connective tissue have reduced flexibility. When you attempt a movement that requires a certain range of motion, a deep squat, a full overhead press, a pull-up from a dead hang, and the muscles can't reach that range, your body compensates. It finds the range somewhere else in the kinetic chain. Usually from a joint. A squat that should come from hip and ankle mobility instead comes from lumbar flexion, your lower back rounding to compensate for restricted hips. An overhead press that should come from thoracic extension instead comes from lumbar extension, your lower back arching excessively because your thoracic spine won't move. In both cases, a joint is being asked to move beyond its intended mechanical role to compensate for restricted tissue elsewhere. And joints loaded in compensated positions generate force vectors they were never designed to handle. 5. What an effective warm-up actually requires. Not 20 minutes. Not elaborate. 5 to 8 minutes of targeted preparation that raises tissue temperature, circulates synovial fluid, activates the neuromuscular system, and takes the joints through their intended range before adding load. Joint circles first, wrists, shoulders, hips, ankles. 2 minutes. This circulates synovial fluid and increases joint mobility. Then dynamic movement, leg swings, arm circles, hip rotations, bodyweight squats. 3 minutes. This raises muscle temperature and begins neuromuscular activation. Then 1 to 2 sets of your first exercise at significantly reduced load. This primes the specific movement pattern you're about to train under load. That's it. 5 to 8 minutes. The difference between joints that are prepared for what you're about to ask them to do, and joints that are absorbing consequences they were never supposed to handle. Skipping the warm-up isn't saving time. It's borrowing from your joint's future. And joints don't give extensions. Fitness doesn't need more influencers selling shortcuts, it needs better explanations. If this video helped you understand the science behind bodyweight training, hit like, subscribe to Iron Monk, and comment below with a claim you've heard that doesn't hold up under scrutiny.